for having me. I have to admit, this is my first Burns Night Supper. I had no idea what this event was, but I was very eager to sign up when I heard about a toast of Lassies. I agreed to give this speech. I was asked by my good friend Basie here, I know Sean as well. And I agreed to give the speech with the understanding that I should share everything I know about the fairer sex. I agreed because I thought this would be a short part of the evening. So I had to do my digging. I had to find my facts. Wikipedia scholars maintain that this should be a polite, gentle roast of the fairer sex. So, surely, as was mentioned earlier, Robert Burns was no stranger to this subject. Wooing women at the young age of 15 with his poetry, a tradition he continued with great success throughout the rest of his life. So, if tonight, I would like to be so bold as to propose a slight discussion on the fact that we may learn some truths about the natural relationship with men and women, and hope that we can find some logic in the balance. So, what do we know? Men and women very different, even at the genetic level. Women have 2 copies of the X chromosome, men have 1. Women are genetically redundant. However, I believe they have just wisely chosen to steer clear of the Y chromosome, knowing how much trouble it would give them later in life. So, I believe this is why women are always stressed out. They're tired from dragging around that extra chromosome. Well, what else do we know? They say that diamonds are a girl's best friend. Does it make sense? Beautiful, eternal, very expensive. A dog is man's best friend. Loyal, obedient, protective, and this makes sense. For as man has domesticated dog, woman has domesticated man. And gentlemen, we must admit this makes sense. This domestication, women, we must admit it, they are plain smarter than we are. I know it's tough, but we must believe it. They just know more things than we do. Look at the color spectrum. How many men here can honestly say they know the difference between seafoam and morning mist? I, for one, cannot. Now, there is a point of clarification as to whether or not women are smarter or they just think about more things, but I will reserve that discussion for all the married men here to have at their homes later. So, I was very excited to give this toast tonight because I felt in my life I have been afforded a very unique insight into the female mind. I grew up an only child. One son. It was a very simple time. The G.I. Joes ran free, there were no Barbies to distract them. And somewhere along the line, I picked up some sisters. I refer to them as my 3 wicked stepsisters. I do love these girls, I have to be honest, but I went through a very dramatic change in my life. All of a sudden, I was an older brother. I had duties. I was expected to talk about things. I wasn't prepared for that. The drama meter in my life went from 0 to holy crap. I was constantly on my toes, trying not to get run over by somebody's menstrual cycle. And I gained a respect and appreciation for women in this. Their minds are just so much sharper than us simple men. I trembled in fear how they were able to so specifically recall that one thing that you may have been heard saying at that party last week. They would play out the chess match that was the possible interpretation of each text message sent to their phone by that one boy in geography class. And so I slowly began to realize that though I had had a normal dating life, I grew up, I thought I understood the way of the world. No. It was all smoke and mirrors. That there must have been some sort of parallel universe out there that men were not allowed to see. Now, I'm happy to say I did not suffer this transition alone. My poor mother was also a casualty of this merger. She would come to me, tears in her eyes, asking me, confused, "John, they ask me these questions. You ask me none of these. I know what I say. I offer them no advice. And if anyone would like to offer a drink to console her, she's sitting right here. So, as I said, clearly there is a wisdom here that men are not privy to. So if we must admit to being outthought by women, then maybe we can learn from them. Maybe paying for this education is what we call love. Seems fair to me, a little suffering for a little knowledge. And this is what has caused several people in this room, no doubt, to do absurdly cute and disgustingly romantic acts in the name of love. Men and women do have much to teach each other. The biggest difference is that women have a lesson plan. Men adhere to the philosophy of much more learning on the go, and our mistakes become the next lesson plan. But, ladies, letting you learn from our mistakes is just another way of showing our love. Because men, we all know how easily we will admit our mistakes to coworkers, friends, not your wife. Never gonna happen. So inevitably this does lead us to a point in each relationship where there are those three little words that women love to hear and men find so hard to say. Gentlemen, feel free to join me. They are, I don't know. Do not fear. She knows you don't know. She's very well aware. But again, that's just her teaching style. So the sooner we realize this and embrace our ignorance, we can level the playing field and finally get back at them. And so to protect this source of knowledge, men should ensure the best treatment for all the lassies in their lives, not just their love. As I said, my world was turned upside down with three lovely, I guess, teenage girls. I was surprised, I have to admit, how quickly the older brother protective instincts kicked in. My stepfather was very happy those were there when it came time to meet their boyfriends as well. So even without these personal relationships, we can still see that it is natural for women to be cherished. How often will a car collector refer to his most prized possessions as she? We hear the beauty of this world described by Mother Nature. A ship is often given a woman's name, and that may make the most sense, for it is both boats and women who keep men from getting in too deep. And this is not to say that women cannot learn from men. I think they need us. Why else would they carry around those purses that seem to be large enough to carry 3 days' supply of food and water? They are terrified of being lost without us. They need us to teach them one thing, and that is to stop. Stop trying to get us to try new things. We're well aware of what we like. Stop asking questions. What were we thinking about? It was nice when it was quiet just then. Stop fussing. You know where those shoes look great? On feet. And don't worry about things. They'll take care of themselves. Look at the barbecue. Every man can do it. It's simple. And just like a marriage, the less time a man spends playing with his meat, the better. So there will always be a disconnect between men and women. It is this shared struggle that unites us down the ages. Men secretly gather around sporting events and pubs to discuss the riddle of the toilet seat and share in our communal sorrow as to what we said when she asked about what body part looks good in the dress. But perhaps it is this morbid curiosity, this desire to better ourselves, that helps keep relationships together. So ladies, my advice, please be patient with us. We are very simple creatures just trying to learn. For best results, use small words. Please say only what you mean and be aware of honest answers, because when we are being honest with you, we really just don't know anymore and we're going with our best guess. And of course, remember, just because we don't understand the question doesn't mean we can't give you the worst answer possible. So in closing, please, let us be honest. Lassies, understand that though we probably won't admit it as soon as we leave this room, we will agree that you are more intelligent. And if you are willing to be patient enough or just foolish enough to stick around, we will return your generosity of shared wisdom with our love, our care, and our protection. No matter sailing around the world or having a pint down at the bar, you deserve a gentleman who aspires to be a scholar seeking your counsel. We will always confuse you. You will always complicate us. It is our shared fate to frustrate one another. So if that be the case, let us at least hope that we can learn from each other Gentlemen, please join me in raising a glass to the Lassies.